Filmmaking is a muscle. Not so much a physical one, as your abs or your biceps, but rather one in your brain. And in this video, I want to share and dive into a few lessons learned that really helped further my mindset as a creative. I've been working with video for the past 6 years now. At first on a pure beginner level, and then gradually getting better over time, as with most skills. There have been periods with more output, more frequently produced work than others. I used to believe that the majority of the quality of work stems from a sort of innate talent for a certain skill. Whilst I still believe talent can be an accelerating factor, I've completely turned around and think that it's not one of the most defining factors in your progression as a filmmaker, or any type of creative for that matter. In her book, The Creative Habit, Twyla Tharp writes that the key to becoming proficient in any creative field or skill is getting in the habit of starting projects in your own craft and supporting it with good habits that are closely related to your creative endeavors. In my world, for example, carrying a camera around and having writing tools with me is one of those supporting habits. Just taking one small step to get over the resistance of a new project, like writing the title in just one sentence as an introduction, is another. It's the habit of keeping momentum going, in other words. Just like an athlete would have the habit of showing up to train every day, a creative needs to show up every day to do creative work. Even if it's not much, even if it's not of high quality all the time, it doesn't matter. You don't have to improve each day. That will be crazy pressure after a while. Maybe in the beginning stages when the learning curve is steep and fast-paced, that will work. But once you get past the initial beginner stage, it's a matter of patience and consistency. I've had periods of time where I was just paralyzed by the prospect of doing additional creative work in my spare time. But naturally, that led to an almost standstill in skill progression. It's this year where I committed and became self-employed, started creating creative routines, that the progress has been very significant and the most progression I've seen since the start of this whole journey. Not because I had these genius revelations or anything even close to that. It's just because I was more consistent and more disciplined. I started small and then I kept building. Where now, for example, I even feel like I'm missing something if I'm not working on my craft for more than a day. I was just visiting my brother in Munich and I remember telling him that I was really missing editing. Not because it's my favorite part of the creative filmmaking process, but just because it has become a lot more ingrained in me this year, all tied to the habit creation of this creative work. Stephen King, one of the world's most accomplished writers of fiction, has said many times that the not-so-secret key to his success is just that he shows up every day and writes 6 pages a day. That's his goal. He doesn't go crazy about the quality of his draft. He just does it. He writes. Writers need to write, painters need to paint, filmmakers need to produce film. It's as simple as. Another rule I've found that applies to all of this is the 80% rule, as explained by Hank Green from the Vlogbrothers. He says the following in a video from 2017 about the key to his creative productivity.
80%. Everything creative I do my best to get it 80% of the way to as good as I can make it and go no further. I just don't try to get it to 100%.
So in the end, if you just make sure to show up, not care about perfection because it's subjective and it doesn't even exist, you get something done to 80% or just good as a quality threshold. Your definition of 80% will progress just because you keep practicing, meaning that after a while, your 80% will be better than your old 100% ever could have been. Those remaining 20% also would have taken a lot longer to get done than those initial 80%. So basically, it just means you're at a net loss of time spent per project, relatively speaking. It's a silly, simple thought in a way, but if we're somewhat alike in this respect, it helps to remind ourselves of these things as we fear the prospect of starting new projects. Fear the prospect of putting something out in the world with, to yourself, very visible imperfections still in place. But it's so important to just get things done consistently because the progress we make is exponential compared to the pace it would have gone at if we always waited for the perfect idea or kept tinkering to get it to an elusive, non-existing 100% perfect score in our minds. It's training. A swimmer also doesn't always achieve a PR in every training session. It's a muscle, and we just need to show up and do what we need to do. Progress will follow, naturally. And that being said, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts about this whole topic, I'd love to know. Like I said, for me, it helps personally that's why I made this, to hear this message and this type of thinking every now and then, just to get myself, in the habit and stay in the habit of showing up every day and creating. There have been days, as with most people, where you don't feel like doing a lot. And it's the same with sports, it's the same with this. If you just show up, you just put your running shoes on or in my case, just go sit at my desk and open a Word document or something and start to write just a little bit. Sometimes you feel like it's just crap what comes out, but at least you showed up, at least you did something. And more often than not, I actually found that I still create some usable work in those moments. Once I get that initial momentum going, it's just the start of things that's hard. But once you get there, things follow naturally and you feel like you're progressing, even on a day where mentally you didn't really feel that motivated or feel that courageous to start something again. Because often it has to do with that. It's overcoming your own insecurities of the moment. I think a lot of creatives feel that, especially if you have a little bit of imposter syndrome. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching anyways. Let me know what you think, like I said. And follow me on social media if you feel like it. I post some cool travel pictures at least once a week up on my Instagram. And also don't forget to subscribe, of course. And yeah, I appreciate you. Bye.